What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, as always, Kevin Coleman, and we are back. We're gonna have a little fun today. So it's kind of fun Sunday if you watch this on Sunday. And the guys think I'm crazy, but I like this channel because I think we can do things outside the box a little bit. And I think if you watch this channel for Devy and college football, I think that there is a chance that you guys could make some money and you guys could be really, well, you might really like the XFL because the XFL is coming back. The Rock, we know all that, but there's guys in that league that we know from a Devy perspective or campus to campus perspective or a college football perspective that were like, hey, we get to watch these guys again because we've watched them. They didn't quite make the league and they went through it. So what we're going to do and what I'm going to do, because Christian thinks I'm crazy, I'm going to go through all the positions and we're going to just start with quarterbacks today. And then we're going to kind of work through the other positions as we get closer to the XFL season next year. And we're going to be picking XFL games on the podcast because in the spring, there's really not a lot to do. So you should take a look at that stuff. And I think there's value there. So without further ado, let's dive into the XFL quarterbacks. Let's look and see and talk about who's on each team and just kind of give you a little quick rundown of what you can expect from them. So first up, we got, the Arlington Renegades, and who do they got on their roster? I actually really like their logo, by the way. Shout out to the logo team. So first up, Kyle Sloter. He's 28. Let's say he played at Southern Miss, Northern Colorado. You see his measurables there. His previous experiences on the board. He's been bouncing around wherever. He was on the New Orleans Breakers recently. And he spent 5 seasons on various NFL rosters, but he never been in a regular season game. So just idea. Now, with the Breakers, he finished second in the league with 1,700 yards passing, throwing 9 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. He ran for a touchdown there. So you've seen that. At Northern Colorado, when he was playing in college, he had 62% completion percentage. He passed for 2,600 yards and 29 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. So when you're looking at him, okay, that's who they got. Now, on the other side, they have Drew Plitt. Drew Plitt is a younger from Ball State. Now, us Devy people and college people might know Drew Plitt. This is why it's exciting for me. He played for the Cincinnati Bengals, but he was way before the season. Now, at Ball State, though, in 2019, he did throw for 2,900 yards and 24 touchdown passes. And then in 2020, that shortened year for COVID, he had 2,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, and he was second team All-MAC. And in his final season, he had 2,500 yards and 18 touchdowns passes. I'm actually excited for him. I think I watched him at Ball State. I've obviously had him on some college rosters, and I'm excited to see if he could take over this job because I think Drew is a lot of fun to watch, and he could be fun for Arlington. So those are the 2 quarterbacks vying it out for the Arlington Renegades. Now, next up, I love this logo, DC Defenders. Got to shout out DC. Remember the beer chugs and everything in the stands. Who's out there? It's only one guy. It's Eric Dungy. And we should know who Dungy. If you watch college football, you know who Eric is. Played at Syracuse. Obviously, he's bounced around a little bit. The Giants, Browns, Dallas Renegades, all there. He played 4 seasons at Syracuse, threw for 58 touchdown passes over 39 games. He finished his career with the Orange with 9,000 passing yards. He was 3rd team All ACC in 2018. He rushed for 1,900 yards. He battled injuries those first 3 seasons, but he was a lot of fun to watch out there. And I think that for the XFL and what they're trying to accomplish, this is the perfect quarterback for what they're looking for. I think he could throw it. I mean, he can go around as long as he stays healthy. He's got the size and everything there. He was a lot of fun to watch at Syracuse. All right, let's jump over to the Houston Roughnecks. So who does the Houston Roughnecks got on their roster? So let's take a look real quick. So we got Brandon Silvers. You know what? From Troy. And I remember, I'm old, so I remember watching him at Troy. But when you're looking at just his previous professional experience, he's bounced around a little bit. Obviously, he was in the XFL for the Seattle Dragons. Silvers, he set the NCAA completion percentage record as a freshman in 2014. So we're talking about a little while ago. He threw 1,800 yards, 11 touchdown passes on the percentage passing. And then when you just look at what he did, throughout his career at Troy, he got better. 2,300 yards his sophomore year. He broke the 3,000 mark his junior and senior year. He finished with 71 touchdown passes and 10,000 yards at Troy. So he can throw it. So we're not questioning his ability to throw because he can definitely do that. And then I love this roster because they got my guy, a guy that we like. I cannot believe isn't somewhere out there bouncing around. Caleb Ellaby. You know what? He just played at Western Michigan 2 years ago. He took over the full-time starter in 2020. He threw for 1,700 yards and 6 touchdowns. He finished with an 18-2 touchdown interception ratio. And in 2021, he threw for 3,200 yards and 26 touchdown passes. He earned 2nd team All-MAC. He went undrafted in the draft, so he didn't really have any experience, but Caleb can play, man. If you've watched him, just looking at who has the best quarterbacks in the XFL, just based on depth, and there's not a ton of depth in these days. I think it's the Houston Roughnecks. I think they do. I think those two guys are going to be very complement each other very well. And I think Caleb can come out there and play a little bit. Like I always enjoyed watching Caleb play over there in Western Michigan, and his ability to kind of move the ball around, push it down. I think he makes good decisions, and I think in the XFL it's probably something they're going to want, a guy that's not going to like lose them games. But I think Caleb is a guy to watch. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch out there, and just in terms of just his value. Now, next up, Orlando Guardians. And again, these logos they did a very, very good job here. All right, first up, Quentin Dormady. Be honest with you, I didn't know a ton about Quentin Dormady. A little bit here, but you get age 46, Tennessee, Houston, Central Michigan. He bounced around a little bit in college. He played in the CFL, did not dress. So that's really his professional experience. He began at Tennessee, transferred to Houston. He finished his college year with Central Michigan. So he started 10 games in 2019. He threw for 2,300 yards and 14 touchdown passes. So he doesn't have a ton of experience at college level, but he did finish with 3,600 yards and 21 touchdown passes. So that's probably why they drafted the next guy. And I know if you played Devy, you know this next guy, DeAndre Francois. Listen, everybody was like really high on this kid coming into Florida State. Like he was someone that, oh my gosh, this kid could be that next guy. 6'1", 220. He has that. Now, previous professional experience, he really hasn't played for anybody in terms of a professional like NFL roster, but he was absolute dominant in 2016 as a freshman. Threw for 3,300 yards and 20 touchdown passes at Florida State while rushing for 198 yards and 5 scores. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year. Like, Francois was that good. Then he had an injury short in 2017. He threw for 27 yards and 15 touchdown passes in his final season with the Seminoles in 2018. Then he transferred. He went to Hampton. In Hampton, he passed for 2,500 yards and 26 touchdowns. And then he's kind of been all the indoor leagues and all that kind of stuff. But watch out for you know what? If he has the talent, if he's healthy, this is one of my like sleeper guys. I think that maybe he takes over and he could be that guy. Like, he has the physical tools. And if we think about guys that have done this before, PJ Walker, these guys in the XFL and these other leagues that we've seen kind of pop up, he's got the physical tools to do it. So give him a look, give him a shout out here, because DeAndre can be that guy that kind of steps up. Now, last few teams here, San Antonio Brahmas. I think I'm going to make all my Texas people just yell at me about that pronunciation. But San Antonio, they got 2 quarterbacks here. Anthony Russo. You guys got to know who Anthony Russo is. He took over this started job at Temple in 2018. Guided the Owls a 7-3 record while throwing for 2,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. And then next year, he had 21 touchdown passes, 2,800 yards in 2019 before appearing in only 3 games in 2020. Then he transferred to Michigan State, and he didn't really play. So that was a weird transfer kind of thing. That just happened. And a lot of people actually had Anthony Russo. I remember on their Devy list to watch, hey, he transferred to Michigan State, he could be that guy. And then he just didn't pan out. But he has that experience, and he does have that kind of that physical tools that you want to see from a quarterback. So Anthony could be that guy. He didn't no previous professional experience, but he's out there. All right. And then we got Jerome Pass. And again, yeah, we know these guys. Louisville, Prairie View, A&M. He played 4 seasons in Louisville before he transferred over to A&M. His best season with the Cardinals came in 2018. He threw for 1,900 yards and 8 touchdown passes while rushing for 2 touchdowns at A&M in the one season that he played. He did pass for 2,600 yards and 16 touchdown passes. He combined for about 39 touchdown passes rushing during his 5 college season. He is an interesting young man because I think he has physical tools. I think both of these guys, this is going to be a very big quarterback battle here because I think they're both very inexperienced. And so who's going to win that job is going to be probably the guy that doesn't make the mistakes. I think Russo is probably not going to make those mistakes, but Pass probably gives him the best chance to win. So that is going to be an interesting battle to watch. A little XFL quarterback battle. That's what you come to the channel for. A little bit of fun, a little bit of quarterback battle. All right, next one. Seattle Sea Dragons, baby. Look at that logo. Shout out. I might have to give you a sweatshirt of this. And I'm not happy with this one because as a Dallas fan, this one hurts me. But Ben DiNucci, Pittsburgh's and James Madison, 6'2", 222. Dallas Cowboys, he played for us. I don't know if you watched those games, but some of those throws were some of the worst throws I've ever seen. But he did throw for 6,800 yards and 51 touchdown passes at Pitt and James Madison. His best college season came in 2019. He threw for 3,400 yards, 29 touchdown passes, just 6 interceptions. He also got some rushing upside. So if you're going to play a little DFS, little fantasy XFL, 569 yards and 7 touchdowns in his final collegiate season. Now, he did play with the Cowboys. Didn't look very good. So, the jury's still out on this one. But it's funny seeing these guys kind of pop up. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you, Ben. But then we got Steven Montez. So Steven, age 25, Colorado, 6'5", 235, Washington football team, Detroit Lions is kind of some experience there. This guy, he played 4 seasons in Colorado, so he did play there. So we know him. Devy guys, we know this guy. Don't pretend you don't. 9,700 yards, 63 touchdowns. He completed 62% of his passes. He threw for 2,800 plus yards and 17 touchdown passes in his final season, 3 seasons at Boulder. So he looked really good. He also has that rushing upside too. Rushed for 960 yards and 11 touchdowns during his college career. So we're going to see this battle. And I think Steven is on the forefront on this one because I think he's a better passer. So when we're looking at who's going to win this job, I would lean slightly Steven in this category. And that's definitely some bias, some Cowboy bias, because Ben hurt me. Like, let's be honest. But Steven's out there. So that's your Seattle Sea Dragons. All right, let's do 2 more teams, and then we'll bounce out of here. We got the St. Louis Battlehawks. Now, Battlehawks were a lot of fun to watch when the XFL was first going. And who they got? They got our guy, A.J. McCarron. You guys remember this guy? We love this guy from Alabama. I'll never forget that creepy announcer that made jokes, I think, about his girlfriend in the stands. But at 6'3", 220, Cincinnati, bounced around all over the place. A.J. is a legitimate player, man, when he's at Alabama. He led them to a BCS championship in 2011 and 2012. You can't forget that. And then he basically was backup for the most of the other times, like when you talk about it. Now, he did start the 2015 AFC wildcard game versus the Bengals. He had 1,100 yards and 6 touchdown passes in NFL career. He was a first-team All-American at Alabama when you're looking at what he does. And he did win the Maxwell Award. And that was the Golden Arm Award and the Kellen Moore Award, all that. He finished college with 9,000 passing yards and 77 touchdown passes. And I love that he's still trying out here to grind and be a quarterback. I think this is a cool story. Because of what he was able to accomplish. And imagine if he comes in here and he wins a title for the St. Louis Battlehawks. That would be a lot of cool. Now, who is he competing against? Ryan Willis played at Kansas, Virginia Tech. Over 4 collegiate seasons with Kansas, Virginia Tech. He threw for 6,000 yards and 45 touchdown passes. In his freshman year, he had 1,700 yards, and 9 touchdowns. His best season came with Virginia Tech, though, in 2018. 2,700 yards and 24 touchdown passes. It'll be interesting. He's a younger guy. It would be hard for me to see them go to Willis right out of the gate. If McCarron kind of struggles, if AJ struggles and they don't really jump up, then maybe, they go to him. But I think this is AJ's team. Ryan's there for a little bit of depth. But it is interesting there. And the last team, the Vegas Vipers. So we got the Vegas Vipers. Got to have a team in Vegas. That's just the new rule. When we're looking at who they got, Jalen McClendon, Baylor, NC State. McClendon didn't see much action in his 4 seasons in college, so he played in 23 games between NC State and Baylor. His best season came in 2018 with the Bears. He threw for 715 yards and 3 touchdown passes, while also rushing for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. He finished with a 4-7 touchdown interception ratio. Not great, like when we're thinking of him. And so that's going to be interesting. Kind of a sleeper guy. What can he be? And then we got. It's funny, on the flip end, you got Louis Bress. He's bounced around pretty much in every single team you could think of since 2018. He played at Southwestern College, Texas A&M Commerce. He's 28. He's been all around. Remember the Rams practice squad, Birmingham Iron. He was in the AAF. He was back to the Eagles, back to the Lions, back to the XFL, TSL. So he's got all the USFL. He's the Rams. Like, he's all over the place, Louis is. He's played in 5 different professional leagues. He's fresh off the 2022 season, so he has played. So one thing I will give him credit for is when we're thinking about these guys, they actually have played out there, right? So when you're looking at what he's been able to do, he coming off that 2022 season in the USFL, he had 72% completion percentage, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdown passes, 1 interception. So that's not bad. AAF, he's at 1,400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So we've seen him do this. Like, we've seen him play. We've seen him do this. He led Texas A&M Commerce to the Division II national title, though. So he did win a national title in Division II, and that's where he threw for 5,000 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. So Louis got some game. He can throw a little bit. So it'll be interesting. I think he'll win that job just based on experience, and then we will see after that. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know it's a little fun. I know that we'll see if this is well received. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to be just bouncing around and talking about these guys, and I think it does play a role in what we're talking about. Like, because if we talk about Devy and those guys, I'm going to tell you guys, I know we're all betting people out there, especially all of us fantasy people. Like, if you're going to, the XFL will be out here. You guys, based on Devy and college fantasy, these people. So this is where you can kind of you can make some money out here on these fantasy streets. I really, truly believe that. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Really think about joining the Patreon. It's underneath in the link, but we're going to be doing all kinds of content coming up for the 2023 season, especially the rookie drafts, all of that kind of stuff. Me and Christian Williams are diving into all the new recruits coming and the freshman recruits coming in. So please, hey, $3 a month. Join today. All right, we'll see you guys later. Hit that like and subscribe button.